Probably helps to have my mic on, right? Kirby, what's up, man? Some aggressive typing. It's just this keyboard, man. This mechanical keyboard sounds super loud. Yeah, I had to text Nancy back. She and Baron trying to give me the lowdown, you know. Mac, what's up, man? Got cooked trying to full port CPI. That's not good. I'm trying to get. Last time I'm going to try this. Miguel, I'm doing great over here, man. That poor keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard. It's like, I don't know if you can see that because of the glare, but it's really not. I'm not hitting it that hard, I promise. It's just, it sounds that way because of the way it is. Yeah, I've learned my lesson on that, Mac. I don't mess around trying to do that anymore. Strong fingers. We love the cheer of gambling. Yeah, I'm not a part of it, man. I don't like that. You got Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense right now, or Secretary of War, whatever you want to call it. He is talking right now. I just got a notification of that, so we'll see if he has some news, some noteworthy news about Iran. PJ says gaps like to get filled. They do. I'm looking for this new day opening gap from a while ago to get filled down below. I doubt we'll get that kind of movement, but you never know. This was my first and last time. Yeah, good. Can I full port CPI in 30 minutes? CPI happened 34 minutes ago. Happened at 8:30. Is this in queue? Yes, it is. Christian fills all the gaps. Yeah, I think Everett, unless, I mean, you had, what was it, the UAE dropping bombs on Iran last night? So maybe, I think Trump, he sounds like this ceasefire is ending, if not already over. So I think if the floodgates open back on that, we could potentially get some pretty strong moves to the downside, but who knows? Ballast, my recommendation for you is full port longs. Just you, though, no one else. How do we know whether to long or short based on news? I don't recommend doing that. Christian, isn't today your 347th trade this month? It's 348th, but who's counting, you know? Is PPI better? CPI is usually the big mover. That was a weaker CPI than usual. Every time I try to do something like that, God makes an example of me. I think it's actually probably a good thing that it didn't work out for you, Mac, because I think positive reinforcement of bad habits is not good. That's very dangerous. So I don't recommend trying to do that. Stay within your system, within your setup. Don't try to gamble. Is there any news today? Golden Boy, there was news at 8:30 a.m. The way you can find that out is you can go to forexfactory.com and you can see what the scheduled news is for the day, scheduled economic news. I believe 16 accounts. That's rough. I don't trade Dow. When did C-Bump start trading? Appreciate that, Wes. That was God's example today. Never again. Yeah, organic. I don't recommend it. I promise you, I've been right there with you. I've done it all. I've done the bracket orders, where you put one above, one below, all that kind of stuff. I don't recommend it. Kim, what's up? Steve, that is a good way to approach every day. Steve said, I might not trade a day if nothing looks good. I think that is what every single day, and this is, and through my analysis yesterday, I broke some rules and lost my head a little bit, ended up 50-50 okay. Friday, I kind of did the same thing, and I was looking at my journaling, and I need to go back to making sure that this is the philosophy that I think works really well, Steve. I need to be looking for an excuse not to trade. That's the way I find the most success, is looking for an excuse not to trade. That way, if there's just something that's so glaringly obvious, so within my realm of my setup that I would be stupid not to take it, that's when I hit the button. But I'm looking for every justification not to take a trade. That probably sounds crazy and antithetical to making money, but it actually is what has helped me make a lot of money. I've taken the majority of my trades this year on NQ. I think I've taken maybe 4 trades on ES so far this year. That means your rules are a really good set of rules, Steve, and they're there for a reason. That's actually a good thing, because you're getting reinforcement that your rules work and that they're there for a reason. So trust yourself that you've set up a system with your rules that is designed to help you make money, not punish you. At what time frame should you do analysis, and at what time frame should you trade? I think you should look at all the different time frames when you're first sitting down at the charts in the morning, man. I look at the weekly, even the monthly. I mean, this is the monthly right here. And then I bounce down to the weekly, then to the daily, then to the 4 hour, then to the 3 hour, the 2 hour, the 1 hour. I bounce all the way down. And then when I'm sitting here waiting for market to open, I'm either on the 15 or the 5. And then when I go to get into a trade, believe it or not, I actually like the 2-minute time frame for the trading style that I've been doing most the past 2 months. But it all is dependent on what kind of trading philosophy you're operating. You think you'll be taking any trades today, if so, long or short? I don't know. It'll completely depend on how we look after the open. Do you use software to help your journaling? I've actually been using TradeZilla a lot more recently. Historically, I've just been using Word and screenshotting my stuff and pasting it into Word and typing it out in there. I've actually been leaning a lot more into TradeZilla. I highly recommend TradeZilla. Yeah, that's tough, Juco. And it's like that sometimes, man. Don't allow the lack of setups for your strategy to cause you to take trades outside of your setup, because I know that can get pretty frustrating and it can, lead to some impatience. What is Bookmap? Rockstar alert? Not me, man. Lucas, what's up? Chad. Open of the market. Market opens, Madi, at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. New York open. TradeZilla does do a good, Lucid does do a good job of that, yeah. Lucid's on top of it, man. I don't know if you know this, but TradeZilla has an AI that will analyze your trades and will spot things out. Yeah, that's one of the things I like, man. I don't like using AI for everything in my life. There's a lot of things where it really doesn't do well, but I think there's some really good that it can do about analyzing your setups. How long, what you could have made if you had held the trade a little longer, what you could have made if your entry was a little more precise. Things like that are pretty interesting to look at. How about that 1K Discord? What's your income roughly like a month? I've been averaging around 10K this year so far. Last month I made a lot more than that, about 3 times that, but the average so far this year has been just over 10K. Little crash out yesterday, man. I was frustrated. I did go on tilt and below 5 TPT accounts. Ended up making money on my Lucid accounts. Went into drawdown on my personal capital account. Ended up coming back to just above break even. My emotions definitely got the best of me yesterday. Very frustrated at the yapping. The yapping really frustrates me. What indicator is what? I don't have an indicator turned on at the moment on my chart. Thoughts on the alien files? I don't know, man. They slightly resemble this. Thoughts on Trump releasing the alien files? They slightly resemble the height of a Mexican. Ballas, you would know. Our resident Mexican, Ballas, spotting the similarities. Hey, Christian, I was wondering if Bookmap would help me find the more significant liquidity sweeps. Bookmap is good for that. I mean, it's good for just seeing where orders are stacked up in the market and the aggression at which the market orders are being placed, which is extremely beneficial. He's calling me at 9:14 in the morning, man. Yeah, Bookmap's good all around, man. Highly recommend it. I just started trading, learning prop firms. Yeah, definitely paper trading, and then prop firms is the order of operations when you start, for sure. What would you say is the best strat to trade right now? I don't know that there's necessarily a best strat. I think that most strategies can be successful if you can master your psychology and set up a system that is built around rules that prevent you from losing more than you make, which seems pretty obvious, but you gotta implement rules that protect you from yourself. Figure out where your weak points are, set rules up that prevent you from exposing those weak points, whether it's over trading or greed, whatever it is. Evan, he's, I don't know. Tortoise are aliens. Drew down my personal account yesterday too. Yeah, that's rough. I came back to positive $6 though, and that was I was down a pretty handsome amount. was happy about that. When did C-Bone start trading? I appreciate that, man. What indicator shows the flow of orders? I don't use an indicator. I use a software called Bookmap. It's a software you download on your computer. And I'll pop it up here for you. Looks like this. This is called Bookmap. The strat is the one that makes sense to you, so it gives you confidence to take a trade. I agree with that. I agree with that. Did you do the verse of the day? No, we got 3 minutes until we do that. 3 minutes. Have you ever traded outside your regular setup? Absolutely, Juco. That's kind of what I did yesterday when I went on tilt. Yeah. Don't recommend it. Pit in my stomach after I get after a red day is rough. Yeah, that's not fun. Confidential, I'm on the tube. If I say the full name, TikTok doesn't like that, but same username on the tube. Oh, Juco, I try not to do that. I try not to do that. If I'm not here at this setup, I try not to take a trade because most likely I'm not in the right environment to get in, to lock in. Lucas, this is called Bookmap, man. This is level 2 data, institutional order flow. It's software you can download. Costs a little over $100 a month for the subscriptions. Which is better, Bookmap or Deep Charts? I've never used Deep Charts, so I can't give you a fair comparison, but I really like Bookmap. How do you read that? Well, these big lines that you see right here, these are limit orders stacked up in the market. Usually they're not as jumbled together, but those are orders stacked, these levels. And these bubbles right here are market orders being placed. The larger the bubble, the more volume is being executed at that level. So that's how you read that. You would say, okay, well, where's, let's say we have liquidity below us. You would see where these levels line up with on your book, on your trading view or whatever charting you're using. And you can see how they coincide with each other. This white line is the VWAP right here, anchored to the 6 p.m. Eastern time open from last night. Always anchor that to the night before. And typically you want to see, you want to figure out what the trend is. Right now we seem to be still trending down overall. And then you want to find liquidity levels that are in that direction. You'd wait for a breakout, slight pullback where the breakout took place. This is how I trade it. I would place a trade on the pullback, stops just above where the breakout happened, usually roughly 10 points. And you'd look for price to make swift movements down into the direction of where the liquidity is pulled. Or if you're trading ICT, you could say, okay, we had a sweep of London. We had a V-shaped recovery. We had a tap back into a fair value gap. I'm looking to take this trade. Are there orders stacked underneath that fair value gap that could potentially get targeted? If there are, you potentially fade the trade. If there are not, that's a good confluence that the trade is valid. So that's how you could use it if you're trading ICT. Supply and demand, you do the same thing, kind of look for validation in your trades. What's good? Yeah, for sure. I'll let you know when I'm taking a trade. All right, verse of the day is Romans 8, 1 through 2. There is now no condemnation for those who are in Jesus Christ, because through Jesus Christ, the law of the Spirit of life in Christ has set me free from the law of sin and death. How many accounts can you copy trade with Lucid? 5. Do you use fixed stop loss? You mean like a hard stop on the chart? Yes. Yeah, I have that too. Also, Everett on through trade evade the risk settings. Those can be turned off, unfortunately. Jack, I have not taken a trade. Crane, what up, man? Tough loss, man. Tough loss. I fell asleep, but I looked at it this morning. I'm not sure what that's about, Evan. Thoughts on deep charts? I haven't used them, so I can't really give you an analysis. Heard a lot of other people say good things, but I don't personally use them, and I haven't even really looked into it. It was a good game, at least. Yeah, I watched the first 2 periods, period and a half. Ballas. Lakers fan. I'm not really a basketball fan overall. There are a couple players that I enjoy watching, but I don't typically like make it a point to tune in. I am not military. Dave is, and he's recruiting if you want to join. Love hockey. AZ. Hockey's my sport that I like to watch. Baseball was the sport that I played and I enjoy very much. Hockey is what I enjoy. I think it's one of the most fun sports to actually watch. Will, what's up, man? You too, bro. Appreciate that. Merrick, what up, man? I'm at the Devils game all the time. I feel sorry for you, man. I hate it for you. Do you like football, American college soccer? I do a little bit, man. It's grown on me a little bit. I've watched more and more of it, and I think it's just you got some really solid players. I think that's what makes it fun to watch. There's some solid players that are playing right now. And it's also exciting to have a team down in Miami now that is, halfway decent, it seems. But I'm not like an avid fan or anything. I don't keep up with it too much. Gonna be a good day. Carolina Hurricanes, AZ. You gotta pull for the home team, It's so fun to watch, dude. It's so fun. One thing about Finnish hockey players, y'all have a lot of really good players. There's a lot of good Finns that come to the NHL. Yeah, Lucas, I wonder why it's so cheap. Back in the day, in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, I played a lot of hockey video games, and I always picked the Devils because at the time, I think Marty Brodeur was the goalie. They had a solid team back then. How I get my shirts to hug my arms like that? You buy them extra medium. Nah, this is actually an XL. I meant to order a 2XL, but for some reason, 2 of the ones that I ordered were XL, and 2 of them were 2XL. You put the dry on very hot. Yeah, exactly. Looking swole, man. I appreciate that. I've lost like 13 pounds over the past month. Haven't been eating right. Haven't been pushing myself in the gym, but we're about to dial back in. Biggest place that I've lost is in my chest, man. My neck and in my chest. NQ, yes, this is NQ. NQ 15-minute chart. Pec flash, I can inspect. Wild. All right, 20 seconds here. Good luck, everybody. Stay patient. Talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you. Dump, dump, dump. Where is that orb? It's above us, isn't it? Oh no, here it is below. Let's see if it plays out. Trump's on the radio speaking right now. Trump speaks in radio interview with Sid Rosenberg. Why? This is what frustrated me so bad yesterday. Just shut the fuck up. Just shut up and get the job done. You don't have to be a media whore every single day. There's something to be said for just being quiet and getting the job done. Look at the orb. Let me know whoever takes the orb if you do take it. Strong rejection out of that. Has ES hit it yet? ES is barely touching it. NQ's touching it. This data wick on NQ is the only thing that would kind of give me pause here. I'll mark it out for you. The markets were clean, man, but yeah, overall they were. I can't argue with that. It was a lot easier to trade. You end up taking any trades yesterday? Yeah, I did. Rejecting out of the orb. Besides swimming, Mac. I've never heard anyone claim to be an avid follower of swimming. It's interesting. Oh, dude, yeah. I don't think I've met a swimmer that was in bad shape, man. Every swimmer I've met is in pretty dang good shape. It's very physically demanding. I got a buddy who swam for Penn State. Was it UPenn or Penn State? Penn State, I think. We did do the verses today. Romans 8, 1 through 2. Consumer Price Index. That's what CPI is. Yeah, loosely paired with ICT. It's a 56-point move off the orb there. Right back, it closed right back above the VWAP. Phelps is no doubt the GOAT, man. He was fun to watch. Unbelievable. So this VWAP on TradingView is a part of this indicator. And this is what I use to mark out that orb for you guys, but it also comes with some VWAP. So it's got the start of the New York session and I think it's the true day as well. This is Bookmap currently. Get that data wick down at 29,113. I did take a bunch of trades yesterday, unfortunately. Was up on my Lucid accounts, blew 5 of my TPT accounts, break even on my personal account. And went on tilt a little bit there. You trade the orb at 8 a.m. I do not trade it, but there's a lot of people in here that do. So that's why I try to be accommodating and put it on the chart for you guys. ES is pushing through the orb at the moment. Headed towards that data wick. Sloppy price action, yeah. We'll see if we get some clear momentum here in a minute. Let it settle, pick a direction. I know Suicide Boys is not the vibe that I'm looking for at the moment. Trump is still talking, by the way, on the radio interview with Sid Rosenberg. Yeah, I'm with you so much. You noticed, Aaron. Yeah, I can't do it, Crane. Cannot do that. That's not the vibe. I usually listen to some very low-key stuff. That's like workout music. ES did not take that data wick low. Jam, appreciate that. Is that Jambo Slice? Different Jam or Jambo Slice? I do like house music, yeah. What do you listen to for the gym? Pink Pony Club on repeat. Heck of a push here. Order book shifted. All the orders are up to the 60s now. See if it changes again. Don't say that, Samaj. You never know. He could talk for an hour, man. NQ orb played out perfectly. Give you a flash of the book map here. Yeah, it doesn't say when he's going to be done. There's never a set time with him, and even if there was, I doubt he would stick to it. So it's just one of those things. You just had to wait. There you go, Ballas. Very nice, man. Yeah, Jay, I got you. You can see how the order book shifted a little bit. We started to get more orders flashing down here, and it's changing constantly. So as we push up, these orders flash higher because there's people trying to get in. The last major cluster is at 29,300. But as we go up, Joy, you'll see more orders start to flash higher. ES is not pushing the same way that NQ is at all. Starting to, now that I said that, it heard me talking. Hey, ODTE, appreciate that, man. You too. This is ES right here, a little bit decoupled. See if we can press and try to catch up. Trump's talking actually right now, Michael. He's being interviewed on a radio station with Sid Rosenberg. Lewis, what's up, man? There you go, Clay. Very nice, man. Nah, I think your London High will get smacked. There you go. There it is. We're talking on ES or NQ? Because ES or NQ just took that London High. What's my win rate? Jam, more important than win rate. I can tell you my win rate, but that's not going to tell you whether I make money or not. More important than win rate is the profit factor, meaning how big are my wins versus my losses. So my win rate is right now around 66%. My profit factor stays right around 2.8%. Means for every dollar I lose, I make roughly $3, basically. I mean, that's kind of how you can look at that. That's basically how you would read that. Strong push back down right there. Took the pop for 500. Very nice, man. Good trade. Very true, Gav. Yep. Well, you look at, if you go research the Wall Street traders, most of them, you know, if you're in the 30s or 40s, you're an astronomically good trader. one of the ways that they trade is if the trade is just not going in their direction very quickly, they get out. They don't wait around to find out and get into a ton of drawdown. So they end up taking more losses, but their winners are huge. Strong momentum down here. ES is starting to dump. If we push below this VWAP at 29,200, it'd be interesting. CPI did already happen. Yeah, it happened at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. You can check that by looking at forexfactory.com. Bouncing on the true day VWAP here. That's a hell of a profit factor, man. The orb did work out, yeah. I want to see us trade below this 200 level here. If it starts trading below this 200 level, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on. ES pulled back slightly. Yeah, they played perfectly on NQ. Bouncing off that 200 back up into the 30s here. Back down to 200. Smart Dakota. This acts like it wants to go lower here. It's hard to tell though. If we start trading below this 200, I think it really will push down. There you go. Broke 200. See if it stays under it now. Back above 200 there. Back below 200. I'm not sure, Mathis. Make sure you're on the right contract or instrument. See if this creates momentum here, because it's starting to trade. Sorry, starting to trade a little lower under the 200s, but it's pushing back up now. Let's see. I want to see aggressive movement to the downside below these 200s and to stop popping back above this VWAP. Less big on CPI. I don't recommend gambling CPI. There is a lot of buy-side liquidity built up. You see all this. But there's also a lot of sell side too. So we'll see what happens. Could go either way, to be completely honest. Trading well above the VWAP now, so not enough sellers to keep it pulled down. ES is still lagging pretty far behind. Starting to catch up a little bit now. As soon as I mention it, he perks up. Definitely don't do it on fundeds, man. You gotta be more disciplined than that. A lot of firms don't let you trade news like that, at folder news. So make sure you're being careful about the rules. No, I did not. I haven't taken anything, Everett. We're flat across the board. Being very patient. Stop moving the market with your voice command. I wish that was the case, man. Trump talking about tariffs. What other sources of income do you have? This is the main source at the moment. Did you trade yesterday? Yeah, I did. I tilted on my TPT accounts, man, blew those. Made a decent amount of money on my Lucid accounts. Was break even on my personal capital accounts, or personal capital account. Did not trade my Alpha Futures or Tradeify accounts or Apex. Yeah, be very careful in this. I recommend sitting on your hands. I do have 5 Lucid accounts, yeah. Big fan of Lucid, man. I'm a big fan. Appreciate that, Magnus. I'm not feeling it, so I appreciate that. What is going on in my hallway? I was changing the light bulb. I do not trade with Top Step, no. Want to see this start creating momentum here, which it looks like it's doing slightly. I'm gonna take a little stab here. And I'm out right there. There's still orders down to 100. No, this is just a small trade on the personal account. A little $300 trade on the personal account. Little potatoes, but they stack up. You live to LARP another day. Yeah, Bookmap doesn't support along here, Jaden. I don't know what they would be looking at. This is why Bookmap is so crucial. This is strong bearish momentum right here. You do have this pullback area right here that's a little sketchy because you could hit this and create momentum back higher. But this is all flashing pretty aggressively to the downside here, which is what I was taking. So I got in on the pullback right here at 160-ish in that area when it started to come back down, so maybe into the 150s, and then took it off at that data wick low. Appreciate that, Dave. Yeah, I did. I called it out, Lucas. Yeah, so I'm going to take a stab here. That's a yes right there for you, Mon. Ballast, that's you, bro. You're the birthday. Can tell that made your day better. Yeah, it's nice to see a good setup and follow your system. I wanted that data wick low too. A lot of ICT traders, I'm sure, were potentially thinking of taking the short after the sweep of London. I would be surprised if they weren't thinking that. You had sweep of London, break a structure, tap back into an order block there, and then a dump to the downside. I don't know why any ICT traders wouldn't have been taking that short. Strong SMT with ES. I mean, if you're trading ICT, that was a pretty straight setup there. down to that data wick. Hey, I love that ballast. God is great. God is great. Uh, Best platform to use order flow? Well, the best software for me is Bookmap. That's what you're looking at right here. This is a software that you download. It's level 2 data, shows institutional order flow. Very nice, Andrew. I took a short from 952, 25-point stop, and got stopped out. That sucks, dude. I'm sorry. And then it played out perfectly then. Switch over to my Lucid accounts. Yeah, if I trade heavy order flow combined with ICT, but I say that I don't think I've taken an ICT trade in a while. So waiting to see if this wants to dump lower here. Might even take a stab on the Lucid accounts, but I'm going to be very, very patient to make sure that we're not getting ready to reject higher after this data wick sweep. Very nice. Passed my TPT eval with that beauty. Very nice, man. Do you jump in when, well, you couldn't have passed it if you got it yesterday, but very nice. TPT is 50% off this week, guys. That's what I was trying to do prior to the stream, was change the banner on the stream. TPT is 50% off until Sunday night. First time, and I've ever seen them do that in the 4 years that they've been around. Very nice, Hazy. Very nice. Yeah, at the moment, empty. Yeah, it's because I can't show you both me and the Bookmap at the same time. See, this is why I didn't jump in on that short. I was thinking that we would reject off the sweep of that data wick. We could potentially go lower, but this pullback here is not something that I wanted to chance. Yeah, OD. I was going to say, did you just get it this week? But if you passed it today, then you have to trade. So the way the TPT works, you have to have 5 trading days. You can technically pass your profit target in 2 days. It's 50% consistency, but you still have to have 5 total days of trading, which means if you do pass it in 2 days, those other 3 days, you just really have to open and close it. Open a trade, hold it for a little bit, and then close it. So if you did 1 micro, that would count. Yeah, I can explain it to you. I mean, you got these are limit orders that are stacked in the market, like these big red levels. They're based on a scale, a color scale. So that if they're lighter blue, that means there's less orders. The brighter the colors, the more orders there are. So the dark red is a high concentration of orders. And these bubbles are volume bubbles. See, these are market orders being executed, or even limit orders that are being executed, but that's the volume of the orders that are being executed at that level. So the larger the bubble, the more volume. And these orders that are flashing, those are people yanking, trying to yank price higher, trying to get in or get out, whether they're long or trying to get in short or whatever. But when you start to see crazy flashing like this, price is generally wanting to go in that direction. This is the VWAP, this white line right here. I got this on the chart. Can't thank you enough. I appreciate all the info. It's really helped me a lot. Hey, I appreciate that. I'm glad it's helping. I love to hear that. Where do you find this? You download it. You download it from bookmap.com. And you can use my code CWT. You'll get 20% off the first month, but that's it. It doesn't apply to the data. It doesn't apply beyond the first month. It only applies to the Bookmap subscription itself for the first month. So not the best deal, but I highly recommend this software. Highly recommend it. Yeah, I still like that. I still like that unicorn. We had that London low earlier that got swept, Dave. Right here at 8:30, and we had somewhat of a unicorn set up on the 5-minute. Was it the 5 or it was the 15? So you had this 15-minute setup. So the sweep of the London low down here, you had a breaker, you had a confirmation of the breaker here. Oh, I'm showing you the wrong chart. Sorry. 15 at 8:30. Yeah, right here. So there's a slight unicorn set up there. Was looking at that, and if you look at this tap back that we had before the sweep of London, we actually tapped back into that breaker. So if somebody had that charted out and took the entry off of that, and then took the trade up to London high, they cooked. I appreciate that, Ballas. Appreciate that a lot, man. Starting to get heavy momentum here to the downside. Here's the Bookmap again. So we had that rejection higher. We still have these orders that keep coming in, dragging us up, but then we get these orders that are being injected down here, down in the 2980s. Data wick low, yeah. Data wick low. And if you'll notice, I don't know who was watching this, but when we had that news at 8:30, we actually had, let's see, 8:30. Yeah, so this was the wick right here for 8:30. This wick right here. Compared to NQ, it was weird. There was a difference in the, not ES, NQ. There was a difference in the length of the wick. I don't know who was paying attention to that, but M and Q actually dumped lower on that data wick than NQ did, which I thought was interesting. Kind of hard to tell from there, but I was watching it in real time. It was easier to tell. Beard looking sharp. Appreciate that, man. Bookmap is what made me profitable. It has a lot of help, man. It adds a lot to your tool belt, as I like to say. No, we took a short. I made 300 on the personal account. We just switched over to the Lucid. Waiting to see what else we can do here. I don't see whether Trump is still talking or not. Iran expands definition of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran said it has significantly expanded its definition of the Strait of Hormuz and now considers the waterway to encompass a much larger area than before the war. An official with the Islamic Republic Guard Corps naval forces said Iran would not allow any kind of encroachment upon its waters and interests. You got to remember, they're obviously, I mean, from our perspective, it probably seems delusional to say something like that. But if you think about, to use Trump's term, the art of the deal, what they're trying to do is they're trying to position themselves to give themselves more negotiating points for the deal that they're trying to strike. So you can kind of understand where they're coming from by doing this. They're obviously delusional by thinking that they can determine that. But they're giving themselves more points of negotiation for this deal. I would imagine. That's my gut reaction to that headline. Cherry, what's up? You too, Bouse. Have a good one, man. Sitting on M&Q currently. Strong momentum here. ES Futures, the data plan you need is CME. CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. That's the data you need for ES and NQ. Was away from my setup, missed an entry. That sucks. You'll get another one. You'll get another trade. No rush. Don't allow it to cause you to FOMO. Dude, my brother's a freaking beast, dude. Negative 500 on the day, locking out. There you go. That's recoverable easily, and that's smart to lock out. FOMO and got auto liquidated. That sucks. Foodie, I use Financial Juice, the app on my phone. If you're looking for Trump tweets, it's always good to keep your Truth Social app pulled up, or the website where he makes those statements. I did take a trade, yeah. Took a short, made 300 bucks on the personal account. Now we switched over to Lucid. We're gonna look for a trade on there. I do prefer Lucid over Top Step. The main reason is I don't like being saddled with trading on Top Step's platform. That's the main reason. Very nice. Made 1,250 on my FTMO 100K challenge. Very nice, man. Good job. I also think that they overcharge with Top Step. I think that there's cheaper options out there. I also don't like how they throttled back your max payouts. Some of the rules they've implemented recently seem counterintuitive if they're looking to attract more customers. I think they're just relying on the fact that they have such a cult following with some subset of traders that they know that they'll always trade with them. I don't use TradeC either. I use Tradeovate. Orders are stacked all the way up, back up to that London high. Right now we're trading above the VWAP, the true day VWAP. Just inverted that gap below us. We're in a 5-minute bearish inversion, but we did invert to the upside in this 5-minute gap below us. 15-minute inversion to the downside, bearish inversion to the downside. We're trying to push through here. Yeah, I was saying that earlier, Michael. Tons of buy side all the way up to basically that Asia high. All of this. All that buy side. I thought they were bad. We're bad, and now we're going to charge you even more for our bad services. Not only do you have to pay more, but we're limiting how much you can make. And our platform goes down constantly. You see I passed the funded today? I did not. You posted in the Discord? Very nice, man. I do see that. Tradeify account? Awesome, dude. Congratulations. Is that the, okay, so you did the growth 25K? Nice. Very nice work, man. Is that your first ever account that you've passed, Daquan? I'm reading your message now. That's awesome, dude. Cherry Bomb, yes it is. Discord is free. Link is in the bio. If you can't open it inside of TikTok, copy the link, paste it in your browser, and you should be able to open it that way. We gotta tap back into that 5-minute and then strong push out of it. 5-minute inversion there. All right, Aaron. Have a great day, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, if you guys are new, drop a follow. We're live every day, 9 a.m., typically until 11. We've actually been going a little longer than that recently, but start the streams at 9 and typically go to 11, maybe longer. You know, money's good when you're buying 20 wings. What's your strategy? I combine order flow and momentum loosely with ICT. Most of the time, I'm taking order flow and momentum trades. I think that's smart, man. I think you'll get a lot out of PJ's Discord. You did less burping today. That's good. I don't even realize when I'm doing that, so I apologize. My mother raised me better than that. I'm sorry. I definitely would switch to NQ over gold for sure. Why don't you trade gold? I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of the movement. I'm not a fan of the way it moves. Joseph, yeah, I took a short on the personal capital account. Excuse me. Made 300 on that. Now we've switched over to the Lucid accounts and we're looking to find an opportunity. I love to hear it, Daquan. That's awesome, man. Make sure you're journaling too, man, because when things are going well, it's easy to forget to journal. But when things are rough, having that data to look back on, to compare your current performance to the prior data is very important. Very important. You could be doing, when things do get rough, as they do for all traders, we all go through these rough patches. It's good to have that data to look back on, because sometimes you're doing things differently and you don't even realize it, because it's just slowly crept in where there's been incremental changes and you don't even realize it. What confuses you the most using Bookmap? Nothing. I feel like I could trade, if I only had Bookmap and no chart to look at and just a buy and sell button, I could be pretty effective. I'm in a long. Am I cooked? I don't think so. Seem like we're respecting this true day VWAP, although we're trading right on top of it right now. You got this 5 minute right here that we just delivered out of once. We'll see if we deliver out of it again. There is a 15 here that was holding us up. I wanted to see this 15-minute candle close above this inversion so that we could invalidate it. But I think if you took a trade off that 5 minute, I could definitely see what you were thinking. Are you a day trader, swing trader, or scalper? I think a day trader and a scalper are kind of the same thing. You got a subset inside of day trading, which is a strategy. Scalping is a strategy within day trading. I would say probably more so you would classify the trades that I've taken over the past couple of months as scalps, 20, 30 points in and out. I don't look for these long sweeping, 100-point trades. But there are times when I do take those kind of trades when it's an ICT kind of setup. I typically size down when I do that, though. Thoughts on a new swatch? I think that AP really sullied their brand with that, but they also were stuck between a rock and a hard place because they lost a lawsuit. I think it was in Japan. Was the lawsuit in Japan? And there was about to be some knockoffs being made. So they went ahead and tried to get out front of it with that deal, is my understanding. I think it's definitely going to hurt the brand. You got orders flashing at 65, getting a little more aggressive. Pushed off that beautifully. People are already camping outside the store for them, yeah. There's something to be said for the value of scarcity. Strong push down there, strong push down. Hey, we're blessed to have you, man. I'm glad you're in here. I'm out now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that momentum started to pick up there, the downside. You have a big stack of orders at 150 just below us here. There, I just tapped it. I'd keep the powder dry for a minute, Dakota. Wait for, if you're going to do that, wait another 3.5 minutes. I say that and then it dumps. We're still inside of this 5 minute here. That's why I was saying that. Wanted to see the 5 minute candle close first. I did take a short, yeah. Kata, there you go. Slow and steady. Haven't seen your live in ages. I've been live every day, man. I'm getting shadow banned. we're here. If you follow me, Wizard, it should give you a notification when I go live. Eric, no, I was in a short earlier, down to this data wick low. I'll tell you when I'm getting into a trade. Starting to get some heavy movement to the downside there. One day, Dakota. Just a regular guy, man. Kind of like the way this is building up here. Take a little stab there, see what happens. Orders down to the 70s. $823 times 5. Actually, shit, copy traded my TPT accounts on that too. That's 823 times 10. Very nice. Very nice. $823, those are lucid. 820 times 5 for TPT. Those are TPT evals. Lucid funded's TPT evals. And then I closed my personal capital account. By error? No. I was taking a short. No. Was in one mini. We went 10 points into profit. I threw another mini on there and then got out. I think this still dumps here, man. I really do. No, wasn't full porting. Trading within my range, within my strategy. Doing what I do. Here's the TP, or the P&L for the U2. 823 with the lucid accounts, 820 with the TPT accounts. Switch over to the Alpha Futures accounts. See what we get here. Big order at 900. I don't know if it'll go that low, but big order down there. Oh, I meant to be showing you guys that. Here. I said order down at 900. Just took 1,200 right there on my alpha futures accounts. Damn. Have a day. Have a day. $820 for take profit, $823 for the Lucid accounts, and $1,200 for the alpha accounts. All right, Stimmy. Let's make sure we're closed out. Manual lock. You made 1206 today too, that's weird. I love that, Joseph. I love that, man. In a short since 29,085. Watch for a pullback here. I got out right there because I was the way the volume bubbles looked. I'll explain this to you on Bookmap. See how these volume bubbles started to get heavier? You can see how they're majority green. This one specifically, these two right here. I got out right there because I didn't like the way that was looking in this area right here. So it could still go lower, but I was up $1,200. Why risk it? Yeah, still orders at 29. Those are funded. The TPT or evals. The TPT, because I blew my TPT yesterday. Those are evals that I'm trading on those, but the rest are funded. Amen, Joseph. There you go. Learning something's valuable, man. That's huge. Warrior, that's not how that works. Strong momentum back to the upside here, but we still haven't swept that 900 level. Doesn't mean we're going to. But we're starting to get a lot of orders to the upside here. Yeah, that's a bearish fair value gap, Warrior. So if you're trading fair value gaps, these are, a fair value gap like this is typically bearish. So that means you're expected to be a level of resistance. So you'd expect price, if it did tap into it, that it would reject out of it. Now, if we were to invert it, meaning a 5-minute candle closed above this level, that would invert this gap and it would become a level of support at that point. So you'd expect price, if it's trading above, if it were to tap back into it, that it would reject higher. But right now, because it's a bearish gap, you would expect it to be resistance. Strong momentum back up here. What did ES sweep? Swept these lows. I'm going to clean the chart up for you guys a little bit. Shadow, I did that yesterday with 5 TPT accounts, man. It happens. Learn from it, figure out what happened, and try to recover. Just bounce back. Yeah, we're taking, what, 3 trades? Made 300 on the personal capital, made 1,200 on the Alpha Futures accounts, made 820 on Take Profit Trader evals, and then made 823 on Lucid Fundeds. Foodie, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here, man. Yeah, I would not recommend, it depends on where you are in your trading journey, but if you're new to trading, and by new, I mean within your first couple of years, and you're not consistently taking payouts, every payout cycle, basically, I mean, if you're trading across all the firms, you should have almost every day where there's a payout hitting because of the way you're rotating accounts. If you're not doing that for 9 to 12 months consistently, I don't think that you should start trading personal capital. I started trading on personal capital before I knew about prop firms and got cooked. So I would have saved a lot of money if I had just traded evals or paper traded to start with, versus jumping straight into personal capital. And 1,000 for a personal capital account really isn't. You want about 5 times that, really. I mean, you could theoretically you could have $200 or $300 and you can make money. But to be able to have some cushion and to be able to size appropriately and do what you want to do, you want to have about 5,000 in there to start. And you don't want to throw 5,000 into a personal capital account when you're new to trading, because you will lose it. The risk to reward with prop firms is tremendous, man. It's almost, even if you are a very profitable trader, obviously trading personal capital is great, but it still doesn't hurt to milk the prop firms if you're just a really good trader. I lost about 25K, yeah. I was right in that area, right around there. ODT was a little less than that, but it was right around there. Tyler, I trade 50Ks. The Take Profit Trader accounts are evals, the rest are fundeds. I don't ever see you take a trade. We just took 3. Dan, the problem is if you're not in here all the time, the whole stream, you can't just bounce back and forth, man. You'll miss the trades, because most of the trades I'm only in for 30 seconds to a minute. So most people who say that, I find, are not actually staying in the stream from start to finish. Last trade we just took, we made 1,200 on my Alpha Futures accounts. And earlier we made 820 on the Take Profit Trader evals. And we made 823 on the Lucid Fundeds. And then the first trade we took, we made 300 on the personal capital account. All of them, Killjoy. I believe that all of them do. I get paid. That's how I get paid. It goes into my business account. You can specifically with Apex and with TPT, you can trade as a business. Michael, I don't count the evals towards that. I mean, subtract that 820 times 5 for the take profit trader accounts. Depends on how much money you're making, Cherry Bomb. There's a certain point where it does make sense to have an LLC file as an S corp, but if you're not making a certain amount, it doesn't make sense to do that. Yeah, just the TPT were the evals because I blew those yesterday, so that was today's the first day back on those, but the rest of them were fundeds. Did I take a long? No, short. Each trade was a short today. How much do you actually make? How much actually hits your bank account annually would be the way I would decide that, Cherry Bomb. Not how much do you make just on a trading day. How much money actually flows through your bank account on a yearly basis. There you go, Dakota. It's a good way to end the day, man. Good discipline. If you're 16, man, you cannot legally trade with prop firms, but what you can do, and I highly recommend doing this, is to paper trade until you're 18. If you paper trade for the next 2 years, and once you turn 18, you should be a pretty deadly trader. You should at least have a good idea of how to trade by then. So I definitely recommend paper trading. Over 120 annually, I think you're right at the level where you should start to consider it for sure. I don't recommend that, AZ. There's a lot of firms that can figure out a way. I mean, we just had some guys recently in the Discord complaining that they had their accounts banned because they were doing exactly that, and they didn't understand how the firms found out. It's just better to wait. Just wait. Give it 2 years, man. Practice for 2 years. You got your whole life ahead of you. There's no reason to rush the process. What do I trade? I trade NASDAQ futures and S&P futures. I appreciate that, Vlad. I appreciate that, man. New Russian? Am I in true now? What do you mean? So it's two different data subscriptions, Peter. You need CME for NQ and ES, and gold, I believe, is COMEX. Double check that though. It should tell you what is included. Am I in a trade? No. Romanian. Okay, very nice, man. Glad to have you. Used to work with a guy who was Romanian. Good dude. He's a mechanic. Worked on cars. I was a mechanic for a while. We worked together. Yeah, double check the COMEX one. I know CME is what you need for NQ and ES. Double check the COMEX. I believe that's gold data on Bookmap. Mechanics and engineers, yeah. Who was it in here earlier talking about asking me about the fair value gap? You see how we rejected out of this? We came in and we rejected the midpoint and then rejected right back out of it as a level of resistance. That's the kind of reaction you typically expect from a bearish gap like that. Trading NASDAQ futures and S&P futures. I don't have a plan to. I don't need to. I do well on NQ and ES. I've heard YM does move very clean. I've heard good things about YM. I've never traded it. $15-minute bullish. Where are you seeing that? Oh, the one that we're in right now. From a while ago that we created. It's definitely resistance. I mean, support. Heavy stack there at 900 still. Hey, God bless, man. Have a good day. How long you been trading? 5 years. He doesn't want to take that 900 level. How long did it take me to become profitable? I didn't start making any consistent, significant amounts of money until last year, so my 4th year. Your boy Teat, I use TradeSyncer if I'm doing that. TradeSyncer. You go to tradesinker.com. Very nice, man. It's a good trade manifest. No, you got to pay for TradeSyncer. Tis not free. Brother, I never see you in a trade. That's because you're not in here. That's because you're not in here. We are up 1,200 on the Alpha Futures accounts. We're up 820 on the Take Profit Trader eval accounts. We're up 823 on the 5 Lucid Funded accounts, and we're up 300 on the Personal Capital account. So just because I'm not like all the other TikTok traders that you probably come across who every time you tune into their stream, they're literally in a trade every second of the day, doesn't mean that I never take a trade. It just means that I'm efficient with the trades that I take, and I trade like a professional, not like a gambling addict or a video game addict who has substituted trading for my video game addiction. I think there's fake. Yeah, there is, and TikTok won't ban them, man. I've reported them. There's a ton of them. Do you trade micros for your personal account? I do, yeah. Did you have times when you thought you couldn't make it? No. Never felt that way. Just being completely honest. I saw the people who were very successful with trading, and I arrogantly, I'll admit it was very arrogant, but I arrogantly said to myself, if these people can do this, I can do this. And I've always believed that. How do taxes work with personal account? Futures are viewed as an investment. They're also taxed at a 60-40 rate, short-term, long-term. So it's actually pretty, it's a more advantageous tax setup than a 1099, which is what you are taxed as with a prop firm payouts. FLB. It's crazy, man. People see other TikTok traders, and I could name, off the top of my head, I got like 3 in mind, who from 9 a.m. until like 11:30 at night are on TikTok streaming and literally in a trade. I would say 60% of that, maybe 70% of that time. It's like that's not a solid representation of what trading actually is. That's not trading. Most real traders are taking 1, maybe 2 trades a day per account, per like firm that they're trading. If they're trading personal capital, they're probably taking 1 at the very most. Some of the most successful traders I know actually don't even take a trade every day. They maybe take 1 or 2 a week. What strategy you use? I combine order flow and momentum loosely with ICT. See if this 300 level gets popped here, man. This 300 level has been just teasing. That's for the people that already made it in trading. Why not trade like them, though? They didn't make it there by YOLOing and constantly being in trades. They made it there by fine-tuning a system that led to only taking a few trades a day. Less is more. Yes, I have been in that situation when I was first taking payouts. That's why I say you need 9 to 12 months of consistent payouts to be able to say you're profitable, because just because you took a payout, 2 payouts, 3 payouts, doesn't mean that you're profitable. Because, you know, you could go on a dry spell where you have a year where you don't take another payout. I know a guy, actually a family member, who within the first couple of weeks of trading, he obviously had traded long before this, but with prop firms, he had started on prop firms. Within the first couple of weeks, he took a couple payouts with TPT. And I don't think he's taken a payout since. That was last November or something. So there's plenty of situations where just because you take a couple payouts doesn't mean you're all of a sudden a profitable trader. I only take 1 or 2 trades a week as well. Look for a setup you have absolute confidence in. Yeah, see, that's responsible trading, man. I like it. Apartment tour? There's really not much to it, man. It's a very small studio apartment. Kitchen, foyer, bed, couch, bathroom. Bathroom has a closet. Very small. It's not cheap, though, because it's in a college town. Does the nervousness ever go away with trading? Yeah, you need to. I don't get nervous, man. Typically, if I'm nervous, it's because I'm in a trade I shouldn't be in, or I'm oversized. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, try sizing down if you feel really nervous. I should take that away. Holy mansion, back in my day, we had cardboard boxes. Hey, I've been there. This is a mansion comparatively. What do you think is the best source to learn? I made a video on this and it's pinned to my page. You can check that out. But I think you have to find a strategy or a trading philosophy that makes sense to you, and stick with that. Don't listen to the noise. You kind of have to find a philosophy, whether it's ICT, order flow, you know, supply and demand, and make it your own and hone in on it. There's that 900 level. T-Trades is a great source for ICT. Highly recommend T-Trades. I usually get off right now. So from 9 o'clock, well, I get on around 7:30 or 8 to chart and then just analyze what's going on. And then I usually get off right now. And I'll leave it open sometimes if I haven't taken a trade, and just see if, you know, I can capitalize on an opportunity later in the day, but I don't sit here constantly on the chart. Usually if I'm like today where I'm up significantly, I'll cut it all off, shut it down at 11. You're talking about Bookmap? It's a software, it's not an app. It's a software on my computer. This right here. Can I explain why I didn't enter? Because I'm up on all my accounts for the day. I don't need to take another trade. Big Mikey. Big Mikey, where have you been, man? We thought you disappeared. We thought you'd gotten lost or something down in the tunnels. It's not arrogant. Remember, if we have dreams that we daydream about or dream about in our sleep a lot, it's not there for a want. God put those images there because it's foreshadowing the future. I agree, man. If he puts the idea or the dream in your head, definitely need to make sure you're doing what it takes to achieve it. Because I'm talking to you guys. Talking to you and answering your questions. That's why I'm still here. What about the dreams when I'm playing Fortnite? Stick with it, man. Stick with it. I think that ship has sailed, but if you think there's still money to be made there, definitely stick with it. Or am I just lucky I didn't see your first comment? Easy Living, this is NQ. We were trading NQ today. That's what I trade, NQ and ES. How do you read Bookmap? So these are limit orders stacked up in the market, or as some call it, liquidity. These are volume bubbles, so these show the amount of orders or the volume being executed at those levels. The larger the bubbles, the more volume was executed. Yeah, these lines, the more red or orange they are, the more orders that there are stacked. Blue is less orders. So it goes basically black, blue, white, yellow, orange, red. That's the order from least orders to most orders. Yeah, there you go, Easy Living. Whatever works, man. It doesn't really matter whether they're buy or sell orders. You can see that on the right side of the chart here, but it doesn't really matter. You just know that they're orders that price typically is attracted to. Price is typically wanting to fill orders, so that's how price action works. Unless there's a headline-driven, dump or pump. The bubbles give me the ick for some reason. I haven't ever heard that before. I did not see your message. Jesus Christ, amen. Bingus, yeah, this is, we're trading temperature, man. All that to underperform the market. You're not trying to outperform the market. You're trying to go with the direction the market wants to go. Only ignorant people make comments like that, man. People who are drive-by neophytes, just completely unaware of what actually is going on here. The claim that anyone's trying to outperform the market or beat the market is such an ignorant term or an ignorant statement. It's bookmap, man. It's not messed up. It's bookmap. Trying to outperform the market, yet we're up 823 times 5, 820 times 5, and then 1200 times 5, and then 300 on the personal capital account. All right, guys, it's 11:10. This is the cutoff time. Can I break down the consistency rule? Meaning, well, if you have like a 50% consistency rule, that means no one day could equal more than 50% of the total profit required to pass the account. So let's say that it's 50% consistency on a 50K account. Typically, the profit target is 3,000, and you wouldn't want one single trading day to make more than $1,500. So whatever the consistency is, let's say it's 40%. You do 3,000 times 0.40, you'll get your max number for the day. And to help you abide by that, you can, if you're trading with Tradeovate, you can go into Tradeovate on the top right corner, hit the risk settings, and then you can select daily profit target, and you can put it at whatever the profit target is for the day, so that keeps you within the consistency, and it'll automatically close a trade if you hit that level. All right, guys, love you. If you're new, drop a follow. We're live every day, 9 a.m. to 11. Yes, you can do that with a loss. You can set a loss limit, a daily loss limit as well, and it'll automatically close the trade. Love you guys. Have a good day. God bless you. Drop a follow if you're new. We're live every day. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. to do it all over again. Mac, have a good day. Juco, FLB, Peter, relaxing. Everybody have a good day. I did catch shorts, yep. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Love you guys.